My name is Mrs. Helen Nkwo, married to Reverend Callistus Nkwo, and we are blessed with 3 children, the oldest being 18 and the youngest 3 years. I've done close to 35 years in the oil and gas industry, and I'll be retiring on the 27th of May, 2026. After an impactful service both to the oil and gas industry and to humanity at large. I'm retiring into lifted life because that has been my passion. Way back in 2020, I had a revelation where I saw a young man that had dreads. But way back then, it was difficult, or it wasn't common to see young men sporting on dreadlocks. But then when I was wondering, this young man was being carried on a bike and the bike was heading to a close. That young man had a golden scepter in his hand. He looked at me and smiled, and the bike sped past me. So I woke up quite uneasy, wondering what manner of dream that was. Same week, April 12th, was Easter Sunday. So I was heading to church. I ran into 3 young men, one of them wearing a dreadlock. And this same young man smiled at me as if he knew me before. And I waved. Went straight to church, but couldn't make it into the church because a brand new dress I was wearing gave way, the zip gave way, and I had to drive back home. On my way home, I met this same young man again, standing on a different spot. This time around, I had to stop and ask questions. Why did they not go to church? Their laughter was such like, are you inviting Satan to come to church? And I persuaded them. Long story cut short, they went to church with me. It was the one that had the dreadlock that actually told me I will come with you to church. But that very day, he gave his life to Christ. When I laid hands on him, he came down under the anointing. And he was in that state for a long time until I woke him up. And then he now told me the story of his life. He was into cultism. He was headed to somewhere the next day for ritual money. Had never been to church for over decades. And was wondering what was actually going on in his life at that moment. How did he get here? So anyway, that long story short, that's how my first encounter started with this assignment. 2020 was locked down, and obviously we separated because of he lost his accommodation in this island and moved to the mainland. Up until 2024, when I ran into another set of, youths, everybody was like, the entire streets, half of them were like littered with addicts. And this young man will come to me asking for money. And I told them clearly that I will never give them money because it will mean I am servicing something that would destroy them, that I had something in mind, something very good that will do for them. And yeah, when I was saying all of this, I didn't have clear direction of what I wanted to do, but in my mind, I knew I would do something. And eventually the Spirit of God dropped in me. Why don't you lift them out of this? And I started listening to God to give me the template. And the Lord did. That was what gave birth to season 1, which happened in October 2024. Between October 2024 and April 2026, we've been able to successfully host 6 seasons. And each season producing champions, heroes, people who were able to leave their addictions of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 26, And lastly, now we have somebody that had been addicted for close to 30 years. And these people are those whom we celebrate as our heroes. And that's why you have our tagline that says, building heroes from the ruins. And so, looking at the joy it gives me, seeing a young man that is almost an outcast, written off, parents don't know their whereabouts, you see them rehabilitated, reintegrated, gainfully employed in the society, and they are now vessels in the house of God. It's my joy. What else can I ask for other than to commit the remaining part of my life to work with them and see them fulfill purpose? Nosa was one particular case. I met him on the streets, walking, smelling heavy dreadlocks. And each time you call him, he would just be talking to himself and we walk, always on the move. And you could just know that he was no more mentally stable. And then I kept inviting him. Shockingly, one day he showed up and I asked, are you here today? He said, yes, you have been inviting me. So I said, wow. And he was in service that day, prayed for him. I was shocked. The next Sunday he came to service. He picked up the microphone. He was telling everybody that his mental health has been restored. And his addiction had left him. He was telling his story that him by 3 a.m. would go knocking on dealers' doors to ask for drugs. But now he doesn't have need for drugs anymore. Even when he's on the street, they are calling him, beckoning on him, bro, come, because that's their slang. And he will tell them he's not coming. And they say, if you don't have money, come and take, just come. And then he say, I don't do this anymore. And this is a young man who had smoked everything in his own language, has smoked, say, crack, cocaine, colos, and all of that, and had been to prison and out. And he could not, even when offered for free, he said, I don't do this anymore. And so Nosa became the protocol in the church. Yes.